Hello, and welcome to another segment of On the Go with Natasha Paris. I'm super duper excited to be before you today because I have been noticing some things. And ladies and gentlemen, it is necessary for me to talk about it. We're talking about the do's and don'ts of Zooming, joining a Zoom call or Skype or any type of virtual platform. Because the new normal is that many people are working from home. Many people are interacting and exchanging with family members via some type of virtual platform, such as Zooming. I call it Zooming, Zoom calls. And there's some do's and don'ts, and there's some things as it relates to corporate or business that we still have to maintain a level of professionalism. It is vital to maintain a level of professionalism at all times, regardless of whether you are face-to-face or virtual. So let's just jump right into it. What is my first do? My first do is, or don't, because you can flip it, right? You can flip it, do or don't. Applies for the same point. When joining a Zoom meeting, make sure that your Zoom video is off. Absolutely. Make sure it's off. You don't want to start your video with you in a kind of like position or clothing. Okay, perfect example. There was a person that joined into a Zoom meeting and he was brushing his teeth. We didn't want to see all of that, right? We definitely don't want to see that. And he must have been rushing, and he joined into the Zoom meeting and didn't know that his camera was on. He did not know. Someone shared with me that they were on a Zoom call and the gentleman joined into the Zoom meeting, but guess what? Via his phone, he was in the shower. He was in the shower. I'm like, woo, okay. And it threw everyone off. And he had no idea that his Zoom video was on. He had no idea. And so this is to prevent this from happening to you. And if it has happened to you, I am so sorry. I hope it wasn't the most embarrassing thing or moment of your life. I'm sure it probably would be on the top 5, if not top 2, if not the one. I would say to you is that when you join into a meeting, but before you join into the meeting, go to your setting and go straight into your setting, and it will say join with or without video. You click on without video. You definitely want to do that. Click on without video and join without audio. So there's just your name on the screen or a picture of yourself on the screen, muted with no video, just a picture or just a blank background with your name. Absolutely. So you definitely want to take that into consideration because you never know what might happen, and you definitely don't want to be one of those people. All right, the second thing that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you are eliminating as much distractions in the background. You want to eliminate as much distractions. And I understand if you are, if you live in small quarters or a small apartment or a home, or it's a big home, but there's lots of distractions. You want to minimize that. I mean, I have children, and one of the things when I'm doing my Zoom meetings, I make sure that they know to stay upstairs, do not come back down, right? Until mommy is done. And some people don't have that luxury. So you want to minimize your distractions in the background. Like you don't want your kids fighting in the background while you're trying to present, and everyone watching you is not paying attention to you, but what are they paying attention to? They're paying attention to the kids in the background. So, of course, if you are able to try to minimize your distractions by going into another room and focusing on what it is that you're doing. But that's only if you are able to. The third piece, this is a big one. I understand that we are at home and you are very relaxed. You're not wearing a business suit, or you're not wearing a really nice dress. Do you guys like my dress? Okay. So you're not wearing a dress okay. What I say to all of my clients, and I'm saying to you, because you guys are my family and I want to share as much as I possibly can with you, is that what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are presentable from the waist up. I really don't care what's happening from the waist down. You can be in your underwears. No one would know. If you have a nice shirt, if you have maybe a jacket or a scarf or a nice, something presentable. You don't want to be on a Zoom with your sweats. No, 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 especially when it's a business meeting, because presentation matters. It really, really does. You don't want to have a t-shirt, you want to look presentable. And also, I've seen people on Zoom calls and they look like they actually just woke up. They have eye boogies in their eyes and they have that little, that little white crust that sits right on the corners of their mouth. They look like they just woke up. And their hair is just sticking out like they total static cling. Please comb your hair, brush your teeth, wash your face, put something presentable on, and get on a Zoom meeting. Again, I don't mind whatever you have below the waist, that's on you. But from the waist up, make sure you are presentable at all times. Presentation matters. It really does. It really does. The fourth, I've seen this with my own eyes. I have seen this with my own eyes. This is, like I said, do or do not, but this is definitely a don't, okay? Definitely a don't. You don't want to get on a Zoom meeting eating large meals. I would say no meals, but large meals. There was a guy, I was on a Zoom meeting. He had this big old hoagie. Like, I used to live in Philly and they call it hoagies, Philly steaks. He had the big one. And the Philly steaks is really it's very juicy. Like, you have the meat and you have the peppers and you have the cheese. Well, he had his video on. So I'm saying to you, it's like, okay, so if you're going to have your video on, make sure you're totally presentable. If you're not going to have your video on, yeah, you can do what you want to some degree, but that's going to lead to my last point. But he had the big hoagie, big sandwich, and he was biting into it. And especially when it's a real big sandwich, guess what happens? Things start to fall out of the sandwich. He was picking it up and he was licking his fingers. It was definitely very messy. And he was doing this all while the camera was on. And so everyone was watching him trying to struggle to get this food in his mouth. And as it was falling, he was picking it up. No, do not do that. Do not do that. I will call the fire marshal if I see you doing that. Do not do that. Especially with chicken wings. And no. Eat either before the Zoom meeting or after. And if you really are hungry, you want to do it very slick and very sly. You might want to get a fruit, cut it up in small pieces. If your video camera is on, and if you're not talking, you might want to take a little piece and put it in your mouth and just chew on it, small bites. And look, and there's a level of professionalism that's happening, especially if you're on Zoom meetings like me. Sometimes it seems like it goes on, and you may forget to eat, or your stomach may be growling and you want to eat. But do it in a level of decorum that you don't look like that gentleman that was eating that hoagie. It was funny, but it was also like, okay. Right? So that's my point on that. My last point is, when you're on a Zoom call, it is so important when your camera is on, don't just look at the camera like this. Look like a dead corpse. No, do not smile. Engage and interact. Type in the chat. Great job. Ask questions, especially when you are an employer or you're an employee and you're working from home. You want to still give off the presentation that you are really engaged. You're not falling asleep, because I've seen people fall asleep on Zoom meetings, and I can understand because they're long sometimes and long and drawn out. But do not fall asleep. Do not fall asleep while the camera is on and start snoring. Okay, yeah, I said it. So you want to be alert, and you want to smile, and you want to chat, and you may want to unmute yourself and ask a question, because those are the things that employers are continuing to look at, even if you are virtual and you're not face to face. So with all of that said, I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, and guys, I'm from New York. Look, I always say guys, but I have to consistently say ladies and gentlemen. I want you, and I implore you to utilize these techniques and just remember some of the things that I've just said, because they're the little things, but they matter. They truly matter, and it can make a world of a difference as it relates to you, whether you're running the meeting or you are the person on the receiving end. So with that said, I hope this was helpful. I know I was a little animated today, but it's the truth. It really is the truth. So with all of that said, I hope it was helpful. Please subscribe and share this video with other people, because you know what? If you don't know, then you don't do. But if you know, then you do better. You do better. And so with that said, I say I'm so excited, as always, to have been your teacher today. And I love you guys. I want you guys to stay safe and healthy. And God bless you guys. Good night. Well, not good night, good day, good night. But have a good one, guys. Talk to you later.